Hi, my name is Reuben. In this series of videos, I walk you through the sample Poor Doctors application that I developed for the introduction of Gennaro Mobile. In this particular video, I look at the web component and the ability to use it as a browser. So in particular, I look at the files browser.4gl, browser.per, and where that's called from splash.4gl and customer_grid.4gl. So we'll show it running to begin with. So launch our application. Now from this splash screen, we're going off and displaying a web page for our help information. I can also display a video, a YouTube video of this application, and also when we're looking at a particular customer, drill down to the customer, if I click on the map, that's going off and using Google Maps. So it's displaying that within a browser. So I'm seeing where the customer is on a map. So all those three examples there, we're using the what I call the empty web component, and just displaying it in a browser. So in our 4GL code, where that call's been made, I'm just calling the browser module, calling the browser function, passing in a screen title, and then a URL. So that was the help one, and that was our video one. So you're just putting in a YouTube video as the URL, and then from our customer grid on action map, building up a URL to call Google Maps based on the customer's latitude and longitude, and then just passing that URL into the browser call. So once we've set up the library routine, it's very simple. It's just a one-line call, passing in the title we want to display on the web page and the URL. So if we look closely on my customer one, I had the customer name displaying up there in the title and then the web page itself. So what's inside this browser routine? So it's composed of the 4GL and the form. I'll show you the form first. Again, I'm just using the .per syntax at the moment because of a bug in Gennaro Studio and the EAP to do with web components. But here we're displaying a web component, and we're setting stretch equals both. But the important thing is to not set the component type property. So there is no component type property. What that means is that whatever value we pass into the URL will be displayed inside that widget, just like it was a web page. Which means that the 4GL is very simple. The browser routine, passing in the title and the URL, open the window, set the window text attribute to be equal to the title, so it displays at the top, and then a one-line input of input by name on the URL field, and that's all we have to do. There's nothing else. There's no JavaScript we have to do or anything like that. We just have to open the window, start the web component, and then once we're done, exit out. So that's all there is in that code. So you would most likely build up a library, similar library function, or maybe one day in time we'll add this library into our product itself rather than having to save you the process of creating these 15 lines in this one form. But using that, so in summary, the web component browser, it's an empty web component, no value for component type, and I've set it up so that it's literally just a one-line call. So to import the browser module and then call the browser method with the window title and the URL that we're passing in. Okay, that of course assumes that your device is connected to the internet at that point. Perhaps I should add a little check or somewhere in the browser routine add a little check to make sure that you are connected, but at this point keeping it nice and simple, I don't have that in my application. Okay, so that's what I call the empty web component and using it as a browser.